And you're listening to On the Flip Side with Nadia. It's time for Media Watch, brought to you by ROi Africa, a weekly look at what's hot in the SA news. ROi Africa, smart technology that learns and identifies trends across all media platforms. We're just quickly getting Tonya on the line, CEO at ROi.
Hello?
Hi, Tonya. It's Nadia. Trojan's Vibe. We're live.
Hi.
We're back. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Is it sunny in Cape Town?
Yes, it's so much cooler. So, yeah, definitely vibey. And on your side?
Happiness is. Yeah, no, it's great. The weather's absolutely perfect. Perfect Joburg weather. I'm so happy to report.
I'm glad to hear that. Shall we get cracking to see what's on the media charts this week, Tonya?
Sure. So in South African news media, quite diverse this week. We've got a lot of new entries on the chart. The biggest stories are much like last week. Zuma Must Fall is right up there along with the performance of the Rand. But there's a good news story that's getting big traction on both news media and social media, Nadia, and that's this, the water shortage and the relative relief projects that are around it, like Project Water Drop and Operation Hydrate. They've all done really well, creating a good 15% of our news media conversation. And that's so nice to see a good news story come out of a bad news story. So that's quite cool, I thought.
Very, very cool. And also just to see a little bit of a shift of the old same things that we're discussing every week.
Yeah, exactly. So the new entries on the chart, there's a few big ones. The first one is Eskom, which I think started making its way into the chart yesterday. And then I don't know if you heard this bursary virginity testing story.
No, I haven't. Do tell.
Apparently certain departments have given out bursaries, but only if you're a virgin, and you have to maintain your virginity, and the girls have to undergo testing. And it's caused quite a stir, particularly in news media. So that's 6% of our news media conversation in the past 7 days. I think it's a little bit like, wow, like, are we in the 16th century?
I was just going to say, is this for real, actually? Is it for real?
Yeah, it really is for real. They had the minister of that particular division on, and they interviewed her, and they were saying, well, but why is it only for girls and not for guys, you know? And there's really a gender bias there.
There's a lot of words
so I'm cool.
that can.
Absolutely.
So I'll be definitely watching that story.
And then of course we had Gulen Bodie banned from Cricket SA for 20 years. So that's coming at 2.91%. Very strong news story. Only hits in the charts, I think it was yesterday. So that is probably going to grow over the next few days. And then we saw some airline stories hit the charts. SAF Air had two scary landings this week. 0.13% SAF Air, but I think that'll start to climb. And then, of course, Skywise haven't paid their staff, so people are bleating about that. That's both in news and social media. So those are the news media stories. And when we switch to social, of course, like social media being what it is, completely different picture.
As it always is.
As it always is. Zuma Must Fall, the biggest story, and by a massive margin.
Almost half.
48.62%, so almost half of our social media conversation still belonging to that hashtag. And to put it into perspective, Gareth Cliff comes in at 17.11%. Of course, he's in court today, so I would have expected that to be bigger, so it just shows you. And then Fees Must Fall is on the charts, 4.02%. And it's a massive social media conversation. So it just shows you how big those other hashtags are making the rounds. Oscar Pistorius is back, as always, 4.36% to Oscar Pistorius. And then Eskom, 5.96%. Those are your very big stories in our social media conversations.
Anything international that's worth looking at?
From a PR and marketing perspective, there's a couple of interesting ones out there, like the Marie Claire internship story. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I have not.
Apparently they were offering an internship. They posted an ad for 30 Rand a day for the internship. And of course, social media. Well, first news media went, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? 30 Rand a day doesn't even get you to the job. And then social media was interesting because social media responded to say, but hang on, guys, when I was an intern, I didn't earn a cent. You know, so it became really funny because news media put like a negative spin of it, and then social media turned around and said, no, that is how it works. So that made quite an interesting study for me from the perspective of what we do, media monitoring for brands. That was quite interesting to see.
But I also think the news media would put a negative spin on it, obviously, from a competition point of view. But it is true, an internship is a learning opportunity. But yeah, I can imagine that's still going to bring up
it
some
is a learning opportunity.
Yes.
But like $30, you might as well not pay anything. So that's really, those are the big ones for SA News and Social. I've posted them in your timeline. And then we can have a look at international news if you have the time.
Sure, go for it.
There we have a big entry on the chart, which is the World Economic Forum at Davos, coming in at 15.73%, the largest international story this week. And that beats Donald Trump, the Syrian war, David Bowie, the New York blizzard. All of those stories don't come close to the WEF. And South Africa firmly in the spotlight at Davos. President Jacob Zuma was meant to make a speech and then didn't, and then he did arrive, and then apparently things went really well. So South Africa, a key focus on the WEF, and that made some interesting reading from a media monitor's perspective. But the second largest story on the chart is good old Trump, saying that he can shoot someone in the streets and everybody will still vote for him. Isn't he a treasure?
Very, very much so. Such a diamond.
I mean, really.
One can just
so here's the second largest story in the chart, and it really does bore me to keep seeing Donald Trump on the chart.
No.
There's some new entries, which is something we haven't seen for a while. New entries are the Zika virus. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. This birth defect virus coming in at 3.29%. There's some horrific images out there. And then, of course, the blizzard in the States coming in at 9.15%. Seen lots of images out there with people who can't even find their houses under the snow. So,
while we're complaining,
while we're
complaining about the heat. Okay.
And then the other big stories on the chart is the Syrian war, crisis, conflict, migrants, whatever you want to add to the Syria search code, 11.43%, really, really big story. What is tragic for me, and I've been watching it for the past 10 days or so, is that Burundi, there is nothing mentioned about Burundi, 0.58%.
Yeah, it's tiny.
So putting that into perspective, it is a tenth of the size of the death of David Bowie. And although I adored David Bowie myself, Burundi certainly needs more attention. So that's basically it for the charts, and I've posted them to your timelines.
Perfect. Yes. So you guys, if you want to have a look at that, they have been posted on our Twitter and Facebook feeds. You can also follow Tonya at Tonya ROi. Thanks, Tonya, and we'll definitely chat next week. Just a quick reminder, I'll be going away for the week of the 9th of February until the 16th.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Taking a trip to the beautiful Namibian desert, but I promise that I'll come back. And I'll...
well, if you don't, I don't blame you.
Okay, that's great.
Enjoy yourself, Nadia. Have a great trip.
We'll chat
Take
next
lots
Tuesday.
Of pics.
I will. I've got a selfie stick.
Look forward to
I'll
it.
definitely post it.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Tonya.
Take care. Lots of love. Goodbye.
Bye.